I will call the Town of Ayer Executive by Board to order for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number 854-0032-4335 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about the remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at ATM at air.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the meeting. So it looks like we have a good agenda. The last meeting before spring town meeting and also my last meeting as member of the executive by board. So I will miss you guys. First item on the agenda is review and approval of the previous meeting minutes from March 14th. Any changes or edits to that?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. Roll call the vote. Ms. Antonellis?
Aye.
Mr. Friskowski?
Aye.
Ms. Tierney?
Aye.
Ms. Cooper?
Aye.
And Mr. Pomperant. Oh, Ms.
Aye.
Pomperant? And
Yes.
Mr. Seeley. Sorry.
Thank you. Aye.
Chair says aye. Minutes are approved. Moving on, next item is the FY 2025 budget and 2024 annual town meeting updates.
Mr. Chair, first of all, congratulations on your last by-board meeting, perhaps, and also congratulations on your creation of this brainchild many, many, many moons ago, which has served the town well. So thank you for your continued service. In terms of the budget and town meeting updates, from my perspective, just real quick, we're in excellent shape. As everyone knows, the select board approved the warrant on April 2nd, which included the finance committee's positions on the financial articles. The warrant was officially posted on April 5th throughout town, including on the website. If you go to the website, the town meeting website is activated, and we're populating each of the articles. We'll have links to the appropriate supporting documents as you move through the articles, specifically when you get to Article 4, which is the omnibus budget. It will take you to the full budget page. Cindy has started the articles of the day, which each day we're featuring a couple of the articles with a sort of a summary synopsis of what the articles do, and again, linking to further information. Carly had the digital budget book was activated as well, which is, the link is available on the town manager's page, the FinCom page, the budget page, and throughout, so that's available. The warrant also indicates when you get to the enterprise articles, it references the web page to go to for the digital budget book. We also received the annual town report just the other day, came in. Hard copies will be in your boxes, and Kurt, there'll be a hard copy in the FinCom mailbox. And Cindy, by tomorrow, should be posting the annual town report in digital format on the town's website. So in terms of the FY25 budget and the town meeting, I think we're in excellent shape. I want to thank everybody in this group, as well as the FinCom and the select board and the departments. As always, a lot of work goes into this from November right up until town meeting on April 22nd. So through you, Mr. Chair, unless Barbara or Carly or Carrie or anybody has any other updates on the budget or town meeting, I think we're in good shape coming up on April 22nd, and we'll talk about the presentation in just a minute. Thank you.
I have no further updates.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the rest of the board? No? All right. Then why don't we move on to the presentation for the 2025 budget for town meeting?
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, members of the BI board, so obviously, at town meeting, and all of you are familiar with this, the plan as I met with the moderator, yesterday, when we get to the omnibus article, the plan will be for the article to be, moved and seconded, by the select board. And then, before he gets into reading down through the budget line items where he asks people to say pass or hold for things they have questions on, I'm going to move and second the article so it's on the floor, and then go to a brief presentation on the budget, 10 to 15 minutes tops, as we've done before. And that's what we wanted to just discuss this afternoon as far as content and who would like to do what. In looking back, what we have previously done, more or less, is we've had basically 7 slides. The first one has been the budget strengths, which basically shows the capital and stabilization amounts, the amount of free cash. Basically, that strength slide we've used in both of the budget forums. Then we have a second slide, which is that balanced budget slide, which on one hand shows revenues, and then the other side shows the expenditures, and that it's basically a condensed version of the budget tie-out sheet. So you can see the balanced budget. Then the third slide has been usually the pie graphs that we break down the revenue and the general fund expenditures to show those in graphical form. Then there's another slide specifically on the omnibus revenue that breaks down the various revenue, categories and in percentages. And then the fifth slide is the omnibus expenses, which does a similar thing, breaking down the major expenses. The sixth slide we've usually used is the operating budget by category. And this is a slide we've used at the second budget forum on the 27th. We've used that to show the expenditure by category, but really to highlight the fact that 75% of the omnibus budget, as we all know, is personnel and personnel benefits, and it breaks that out. And I know that Barbara, since the second forum, if many of you recall, Mr. Curran asked for a further breakout on the public safety piece into fire and police, and I know that Barbara has put that together since then. And then the last slide was sort of the major budget drivers in the omnibus budget. And it's sort of a good ending slide because it'll sort of highlight or trigger, hopefully when they do the line by line review, sort of the major, items in the budget. Then historically, we used to put a slide, obviously, about the schools, but as everybody knows, and I confirmed this again with the moderator last night, is that both schools under their respective articles are going to do a 10-minute presentation just on the FY25 budget for their respective schools. So we don't need to put that in here. So those were the topics that I was going to sort of tee up for the presentation, but wanted to ask that BI board, if there's some additional things we should touch upon, if some of these things I mentioned, maybe we shouldn't. So just looking for any feedback on that. And then after the presentation, the moderator is then going to go through the lines on the budget and then open it up to questions and so forth at that point.
Any questions or comments from the board? No. I think 7 pages is a good length. I don't think we want to go any longer. So, and it sounds like it includes everything we have in the past for the most part, which is excellent.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Anything else on the presentation? No? Okay.
I'm good. Oh, the only question I had, Robert, you mentioned the further breakdown. Did you
Mhm.
want that further breakdown on that slide or just stick with, because I did send, or Carly sent his request, just to him.
I'll give you my 2 cents, but I'm open to whatever other folks want to do. I would say that we have that slide ready for a town meeting. I say we stick to the format we normally use, which breaks it out as public safety. But we know we could do it either way. I guess we could add that added detail and just have it there, or we just have it ready for if and when the question comes up. So it's. What do you think? I mean,
I'm open to suggestions.
I think he's the only one that asked for it, and I emailed it to him already, so
So
Yeah.
we'll just, I
we
could
could just have
as-
it teed up.
Okay, as a just in case. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
I don't think there's a need to present it because one person asked at a select board meeting, but have it available if necessary.
mhm.
Sounds like we're all on the same page.
And then, if I could, Mr. Chair, just briefly, if there isn't anything else on the omnibus presentation, I just want to, as everybody knows, point out, we will have, so there'll be additional slides and material for the budget and for articles that will be loaded if we need them or if they're asked for. So please know that, like when we get to both of the capital articles, all departments have their respective slides for that. They know that they're not all going to just automatically present. Usually the DPW does give a brief snapshot because he has the lion's share of capital, but we will have all of that information ready. We do anticipate, for example, there may be questions on under capital, which is both Article 10 and Article 11. Questions about the ambulance, for example, the chief does have a couple of slides prepared for that. So as we move through the warrant on some of these various topics, please know that we have all of the material prepared. In Article 24, for example, which is the acquisition of the Sandy Pond, acquisition of 71 Sandy Pond, we will have a brief presentation prepared for that article. And there are a few others throughout the warrant that will be ready to go.
Okay.
Sure.
Robert?
Yeah.
So on the 71 Sandy Pond Road, there there's been some, there was a posting on the Facebook page, and that was, it brought up, someone posted how it was being funded, and can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay. And then this person mentioned CPC, I forget the three and of course, then the responses were, what's CPC, blah, 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 blah. Any case, long story short, I make sure you have an explanation of what the three funding sources are and how those are funded, because the seed's been planted, and I'm sure that will be a question.
No, excellent point,
Thank you.
Kurt. I'm glad you brought that up, and great minds think alike. So in this presentation, there will be a specific funding slide that just does that. And just to update everybody since we last met. So 350,000 will be CPC from open space. That's pretty straightforward. And that's one of the functions of Article 24 is specifically that. What has happened since we last met, and remember we went through all of those different recommendations, when the select board met after the buy board, they ended up voting to use first any available ARPA funds. And Kurt, to your point, the slide, we're going to explain all of this, to use any available ARPA funds first. And if there was any remaining balance, then to go to the UDAG. We actually have a meeting right after this on that issue. And the article is written, there's that flexibility. We believe that we won't need to use any of the UDAG for the acquisition. And that's how the motion was done by the board, to go to ARPA first, and then if needed. And the reason being, so we did pay the Minuteman Neshoba invoice that we talked about last time. That was 300 and something thousand from ARPA. There was still enough ARPA left, we thought, to cover most of the 350,000. We just found out just a couple days ago, the DEP, we got a grant for remember the Clear Well project that Dan had, we authorized ARPA funds for? We now got grant funding for that, which has freed up, I think, about another 160,000 in ARPA. So what I'm getting at is, we won't need to go to the UDAG to fund any of 71 Sandy Pond. But to answer your question, which is an excellent one, there will be a very clear slide for town meeting and in the presentation that walks everybody through the funding.
So, but again, I'm going from this Facebook post and the comments on, but I think it's realistic to be aware of it, is then the questions came up, what's CPC monies?
Yep.
Oh, it's your tax money. So maybe if we can have, again, either included or at the ready, explaining that CPC, and they did bring up the fact that it's a 3% surcharge. So again, the reaction was, oh, it is our tax money. But maybe, again, CPC is, again, either have it there or at the ready. Yes, sir, this is CPC as a result of a 3% surtax. And I think here's the key, is these funds are raised for, and you could probably phrase it better than I or Scott, for these exact purposes, correct? I mean, things that benefit the town.
Yep.
Am I correct? And that's,
No, I'm with you.
this is a great use of, this is exactly what CPC funds are for.
Agreed. And that'll be the plan.
Because I mean, and I'll just finish, I know I'm going on too long, but I just don't want us to get all of a sudden dragged off to the side with the whole discussion of CPC.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. I think it's a very good suggestion.
Yeah, good point. And we will be ready.
Thanks.
Anything else for town meeting?
Nope.
Just in general? No? Okay.
Just tell all your friends to be there. We need at least 50 people for the quorum.
But even with like up on the stage and the town employees, don't we usually hit like 25 or 30 just with that?
Yes, true.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is the scheduling of the next meeting. So I will defer.
What, Mr. Chair, through you,
Yeah, please.
and we will miss you, but you can always join us as they are public meetings. What we usually do is, why don't we, after town meeting on April 22nd and so forth, usually we take a brief breather. I will, unless we can set a meeting specific, but usually what we do is let a couple weeks go and then schedule, the next meeting. I think we should discuss maybe with the FinCom and the select board, some potential topics. I think one of the things that we could talk about would be the digital budget book and the ClearGov platform as we continue to play with it. But I would propose that we just get through town meeting and then look to reconvene in the near future. But if folks want to set the May meeting, we can do that as well.
I'm fine with waiting. And Scott, it's been a pleasure being on this board with you. Sorry to see you go.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been great working with everyone. Met some wonderful people over the years. And yeah, it's been great working with everyone and getting to know everyone. So thank you very much. All right. So that was the last item on the agenda. I'll open up to any other questions or comments before we adjourn for the afternoon. No. All right, I'll take a motion for adjournment then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 2:24 PM.
Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Ms. Tierney,
Aye.
Mr. Friskowski,
Aye.
Mr. Sealy,
Aye.
Mr. Pomprian,
Aye.
Ms. Cooper,
Aye.
and Ms. Antonellis.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. We are adjourned. Thanks everyone for your time this afternoon.